in a restructuring. But this is an indication that certain assets may be impaired, and the risk contract is a contract in which the unavoidable cost of meeting the obligation under the contract exceed. Example of provisions are warranties, environmental contamination, decommissioning or abandonment costs, and court case and the guarantees. So let's continue to our last objective, the contingent liability and asset. Contingent liability has two ways of how to define. So the first definition of contingent liability is that contingent liability is only a possible obligation. So possible obligation ra ang contingent liability. Which means dili na siya probable, kundi possible obligation na siya that arises from past event. And the second definition is that the contingent liability is a present obligation. So di ra siya possible but also a present obligation that arises from past event but is not recognized. Ngayon di man siya recognized because dili siya probable that the outflow of resources and embodying of economic benefits will be required to settle the obligation, or the amount of obligation is not measured reliably. So contingent liability now is not recognized as liability. And ang atong buhaton raana is ato ra na siyang i-disclose on the book. So ang contingent liability ato ra na siyang i-disclose on the book. Next is contingent asset. Contingent asset is defined as a possible asset that arise from past events. So same as liability, para silang possible asset, possible. So and whose existence will be confirmed only by the occurrence or non-occurrence of one or more certain future event. This will be also not recognized. So same as sa liabilities, di sila ma-recognize. Di sad ni nato siya i-recognize as an asset or an income, but we only disclose on the notes to the financial statement. So ato ra ni siyang disclose same sa liability. So for us to better understand, magamatag timeline. So this is 0%, this is 50%, this is 95%, and this is 100%. So this timeline is the timeline of chances. So if 95 to 100 chances ang atong tawag ana kay reasonably certain. So kung more than 50% up to 95% atong tawag ana kay probable. Kung sakto ra sad ang 50%, that is possible. And if below siya sa 50%, atong tawag ana kay remote. So naatay apat na klase sa probable. So kato ang reasonably certain, ang probable, possible, o remote. So let's talk about liability. Sa 50, so kung 50% to 95% ang chances, ato na siyang i-recognize as probable kay provision na siya. Na kung reasonably certain, mas lalo nato na siya nga i-recognize kay tinuod na siya nga liability. Kung possible, disclose only kay contingent liability ra na siya. So ari na naton ibutang ang contingent liability. Pero pag remote, ignore na nato siya. So, those are the rules kung liability. So, let's talk about asset. Situate na kung reasonably certain ang asset, adto ra na siya i-recognize. So, ibig sabihin, kung probable ang usa ka asset, i-disclose ra na siya kay kung probable ra ang chance, ara ra na siya mahimong contingent asset. So, ara na to ibutang ang contingent asset. Kung possible ra sad, ato ra nang i-ignore, lalo na sa remote. So, that means mas lala ang asset kay natay gitawag na prudence or conservatism. Ibig sabihin, asset and income must not be overstated, like therefore mas stricto ta kaysa sa liability. So that's all for my report. I hope you learned something from my report, and thank you for watching.